Hey everybody, how are you? So I'm going to talk a little bit about medical again, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be boo-boo kits. So I've got several videos about trauma kits you can check out. Definitely think you should be prepared and have medical, but you're most likely to get a cut or a scrape or something like that before you would need major trauma medical gear. Couple things I don't suggest mixing them together. I think your trauma kits should be separate. Like this one here, I've got a video where I was showing the contents. This is the SOE vehicle medical bag. There's no boo-boo items in here. This is all for major trauma, airway, massive hemorrhaging. There's also a splint in here for stabilizing and combat gauze, tourniquets, things like that. I will show you a caveat to mixing them, but first I've got this SOE pouch. Sound off below if you know which one this is. I picked it up when I was in Camden recently. They've been making several versions like mystery pouches. I've seen ones lined with a lot of different stuff, but this is super handy. So I created this as a boo-boo kit to go in one of our cars. And these things can get very elaborate. I don't know that everybody's boo-boo kit's going to be the same depending on where you live, conditions, things like that. But this kind of goes and covers everything I need. I could add a couple more things and I'll talk about that. But so real quick, I like to segregate things out just so they are they're easy to access. So first of all, I keep a light just in case I was trying to, look for a splinter or something. I've got some waterproof medical tape. This little module here is all band-aids or small band-aids, medium, large size. I definitely think you should get a quality band-aid. Again, this is for boo-boos. If I had major cuts, I would go to my trauma kit. But there's some redundancy here as well, and I'll show you. But several band-aids here. So I have one glove, and you say, well, why only one? Well, I'm usually going to be self-treating boo-boos. I may have to treat somebody else. Generally, a boo-boo, you're going to wipe it off and put a band-aid on. This is to cover a wound. Say I cut my hand, I bandaged it up, and then I can cover it up with the glove. Here's some liquid skin, tweezers for pulling out splinters and things. Here's a couple little wipes. Again, some more band-aids. Couple gauze pads and a couple extra gauze pads just in case you need to clean the site. And I've got some stuff for that as well. I'll show you. And again, these can get elaborate. You can add all kinds of additional stuff. But this to me is going to cover the most basics. I've got one of these little expandable towels just in case. I fall down or my son falls down and gets a big scratch, I can wet this, wipe it. I keep all the liquid stuff in a pouch. This has a couple antibacterial hand wipes, some hand sanitizer and a spray, some triple antibiotic ointment, some anti-itch, some eye drops in case there's any challenges with getting something in your eye. You could add a sting relief pad, maybe some sunscreen. That's something I may expand and add in here. This is kind of the little medical module. I've got some Tylenol, Excedrin, some antidiarrheal, some emergency, just for like a little boost, and some chapstick. Again, it's basically to cover boo-boos. You could add a few other things. This is separate, so trauma, boo-boo. Now I'll show you the only time I would suggest maybe incorporating them together. I took this SOE toiletry bag, and it's red, and I made a little IFAK out of it as just an extra throw in the back of the car as addition to my IFAK already in there, my car kit. And what I did is I made a little boo-boo module that went inside. So in here there's, you know, the Izzies, the quick clot, the tourniquets, the headlamp, compression gauze, gloves, glasses, all that. So I can get to my trauma stuff real quick, and I've got this boo-boo kit segregated out, and it's it's an identical setup as I just showed you here. This is the only time I would integrate boo-boo with trauma, because this is totally separate. The one thing I did notice and I'm missing, I need to put some trauma shears in this little module, but again, this is a backup module to my trauma already in the car. So anyway, if you have any ideas, things you would add, of course we don't want it huge. I like to keep a small footprint. This is good for, you know, when you're out at the range, have something in your range bag, or just everyday needs for cuts, scrapes, things like that. So sound off below. What would you add? What would you do different? And I appreciate you watching, and until next time, I'll catch you later.